On Wednesday, the Memphis Grizzlies announced that they signed Bruno Caboclo to a multi-year deal. This move comes after the Brazilian forward averaged 6.1 points, 3.2 rebounds and 1.4 blocks per game in 21 minutes per game. While Caboclo has struggled with efficiency, as he's only shooting 33% from the field, Wallace noted that his offensive potential combined with size, length and defensive instincts are the reasons behind the team signing Caboclo to a long-term deal. That confidence with his offensive upside probably comes from his past play in the G League with the Rio Grande Valley Vipers. With that squad, Caboclo was able to shine as a well-rounded offensive player as he averaged 16.4 points, 7.1 rebounds, 1.3 assists, 1.1 steals and 3 blocks on 52% from the field and 43% from beyond the arc on 5.7 attempts per game. So although he hasn't quite showed that same ability yet with the Grizzlies, they have reason to be optimistic that he can turn into a solid 3-and-D forward. Caboclo's ability to utilize this to establish himself as a 3-and-D threat and eventually receive a multi-year deal definitely gives hope to other forwards that are currently grinding in the G League. One player that fits that description is current Stockton Kings rookie forward Reynolds. Like Caboclo, Reynolds has been able to establish himself as a strong forward that can shine on both ends of the court. That knack has been more prevalent in recent weeks as he's averaged 21.3 points, 4.3 rebounds and 1.1 assists on 53% from the field and 51% from beyond the arc on 7.5 attempts per game since January 15. As evident from those numbers, Reynolds has stood out as an unbelievable perimeter threat. Since the 15th, he stood out as the G League's third most efficient shooter as he's behind Texas Legends guard Keith Hornsby, 54% on 4.1 attempts per game, and Magic two-way player Troy Copane, 54% on 4.3 attempts per game, among players that have shot at least 3 perimeter jumpers per game. Vast majority of those made jumpers came in the catch-and-shoot, an art that Reynolds has seemed to master since joining Stockton. Whether he's working around off-ball screens, moving to the top of the key after working in horn set or just positioned on the wing or corner, Reynolds is always able to display his smooth shooting stroke. As evident from the shot chart below, he's above league average in every zone on the perimeter by at least 10% from every area besides the left corner. In addition to perimeter jumpers, another way that he can use his smooth touch is in the low post. Whether it's on the left or right block, Reynolds displays confidence in each movement when it comes to getting an upper hand on his defender. He's able to get an advantage through exhibiting solid footwork that allows him to get a clear look at the rim or better positioning near the basket. Following that, the Kings forward can put up a hook shot with either hand or nail a fadeaway jumper. That final approach is evident in the play below as he does a nice job of moving to the middle of the paint before putting up a fadeaway jumper over the heads of the Santa Cruz Warriors defense. While hook shots are considered passé in the modern-day NBA, Reynolds' work in that end shouldn't be looked down upon due to how efficient he is. According to his profile on the G League stats page, Reynolds is shooting 55% on 31 total hook shots and 100% on 5 total fadeaway jump shots. Sure, those might be an example of sample size, but it's clear that the Kings player definitely has upside in this area of his game. At this point in the season, Reynolds has mostly just worked as a perimeter weapon that can also do work in the post. However, he has shown some rare glimpses of being able to help out as an on-ball driver. While he doesn't have the quickest acceleration, he has shown an ability to work around opponents that square up on him. Once he's able to get around that defender, he does a nice job of being able to drive with his right hand and finish from within the restricted area at an efficient 67% clip. On the other end of the floor, Reynolds seems like a lost cause if you just look at his defensive statistics. Currently, the Kings forward is averaging .6 steals and .6 blocks per game since January 15. That fact seems even worse when you look at the on-off numbers, as opponents are 10 points per 100 possessions better when he's on the court, 106.4 points per 100, compared to when he's on the sidelines, 96.7 points per 100. While those stats point to Reynolds struggling on defense, you can easily get a different perspective once you actually watch him play. Because when you start to watch film, you see somebody with a lot of defensive potential due to his ability to guard multiple positions from point guards to power forwards. When it comes to defending guards, he does a nice job of staying with them as they're trying to drive to the rim. An example of this is seen below, as he does a great job of being able to stick on ASLC Stars guard Deonte Burton like Velcro from perimeter to paint. Once Burton made it to the paint and attempted to put up a floater, Reynolds used verticality to stop the shot from going airborne. Although his steal average is incredibly low, the Stockton forward also shows a knack of forcing players to turn the ball over, whether he's working against a ball handler or as a help defender. This trait, combined with his ability to guard backcourt players, definitely can make one confident that Reynolds will be able to stand as a decent defender despite what the stats may tell you. Despite his questionable defensive stats, Reynolds has been able to establish himself as one of the best forward prospects in the G League. That label doesn't come easily, as the Stockton forward stands out as an amazing perimeter shooter, solid post-up threat that also has some upside as an on-ball driver. In addition to that, he does show upside on the defensive end due to being a 6'8" forward that can defend both guards and forwards that are trying drive to the rim. With those traits, a strong 6'8", 225-pound frame, and just being a young 22-year-old rookie, Stockton Kings forward Cameron Reynolds stands as a legitimate NBA prospect and somebody that fans should keep their eyes on.